how you technically secure your environment. That's the best way to kind of think of it. We have ISO 27001, for example. That's a great framework for how you manage governance, risk, compliance, your security management program. What are the things you need to do? But the Zero Trust framework goes down to the next level and really gives you a lot of detail around how you technically engineer your environment to make it more resilient. So let's unpack that a little bit further. So what can you achieve through Zero Trust? Really, it's around these risks we talk about here, such as making sure that preventing ransomware from taking hold in the first place, but if it does, stopping it from spreading. And when we talk about ransomware, that includes those criminal actors that are, maybe get a foothold in your network. They're wanting to then move laterally to start to get the data so that they can extort you. The faster you can identify that, the better, because A, you can potentially stop them from getting that data to extort you, and B, you can limit the amount of damage. So that's one really good use case. There's also the attacks around passwords, which are significantly prevalent today, and we all know that we need to do multi-factor and all these fun things, but the reality is still organizations don't have. Before we talk about what it is, it's important to know what it isn't. So this is kind of a traditional approach that we still see today. We've got the big bad internet off there to the left of the firewall. And then we've got everything on the inside of our network, whether that's the inside of the VPN or a traditional firewall, is considered trusted. So our users and our servers and data and systems. But obviously now remote work, let's change the game, right? SaaS applications, this concept of a traditional barrier is not there. And further to that, it's really quite easy for an attacker, once they get into this trust zone, to start to move freely within it. A lot of people still haven't been able to do things like segmentation and that type of stuff from a traditional network standpoint. So this is where the Zero Trust model talking about in terms of the architecture is really moving to a scenario where your users, your data, those systems, it could be IoT, it could be a server, it could be a user, is now untrusted. And if they then want to get access to your information and data and other systems, they have to pass through what's known as a policy decision point. And that policy decision point effectively is taking a lot of data, we call them signals. For everyone on the call today to get some sort of takeaways and guidance on the path.
Yep. One of the first things we generally do with implementing a Zero Trust model is putting in the single sign-on portal and doing the integration of cloud applications, simply because it's generally the most bang for buck. But it also means that you're securing both your corporate data as well as anything you're accessing in the cloud behind a single concentration point. And when you're putting it behind that concentration point, you can then introduce single sign-on or MFA or whatever solution you happen to have. You may be able to use it as a relaying party or whatever it might be. But it gives you the ability to protect those applications. So you sort of hit a heap of them at once. And that's a very, very quick way of getting that going.